Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. We are waiting on some transmission parts, so I thought I would turn my attention and do a little bit of engine work. I'm gonna go ahead and put the VP44 back in, get the gear in time. Right now I have the cylinders or the pistons down just a little bit because when I was putting on the head, I didn't want anything to hit the top of the piston possibly while as I was setting it in place. So I have that just rotated a little bit so it's out of time. So I need to put that back at top dead center. And then while we have the VP out, I thought I would go ahead and change the cam sensor too, just because it is so far buried deep underneath there. It's just easier to change it now while everything's out of the way, and it's just a little bit of insurance policy for down the road if I would have to change it. So got the VP all cleaned up. When I took it off, I did cap everything off that way, except for I forgot to cap those. That was the only thing I forgot to do. So to take this off or to replace it, you'll need a 13, a 15, and a 27, and then also you'll need a 3/4 inch wrench, open end or line wrench, to take off all of your lines back here. And then you have your return and your feed here also that you're going to have to remove. And then there is just a single plug on the back side. You got 2 bolts here that are on the side of the block, and then you have 3 bolts or 3 nuts that you'll take off that go into the back of the timing cover. This is a pretty simple and straightforward job. If you just had to change that while I had everything apart, I went ahead and took it off just because it was in my way, and to get everything out of the way. Actually, I wanted to change the tappet cover gasket while I was down this far. I just went ahead and pulled the VP for that, is actually what I did. So right now we're going to go ahead and put that back in place, but first we're going to change the cam sensor, and that's just a single 8mm bolt. You got a plug right here. You just lift up on that and then plug it, grab you an 8mm, and take that bolt out of there, and your cam sensor will pull right out. Like I said, you just had this 8mm right there, right beside the cam sensor off to the side. It's kind of teardrop shaped molded plastic. Just loosen that up, pull that bolt out. Go ahead and just give it a nice little tug, and the cam sensor will pull right out. Pretty easy. But as you can see, if this VP44 is sitting right here, you can pull it out. It is doable to change that while the VP's in there, but I like the fact of being able to get to it just like that. Put the new one in. I put just a little bit of oil on the O-ring. Go ahead and give it just a little twist and put it right in place. And just reinstall your bolt. Before I plug that in, I'm going to go ahead and take some dielectric grease and put on that plug, and then put it in place. Now we're ready to go ahead and install the VP. Same thing, I'll put just a little bit of oil on this O-ring that slides into the back of the timing cover. And go ahead and put it in place. You got 2 bolts down here on a bracket. Then you got 4 bolts up around the head. I know I said 3 earlier, but I was mistaken. I forgot there's a 4th one. We'll get all 4 of these bolts tightened up. There's one there, the one directly below it, one there, and then directly below it. And then there's 2 back here, just below where your lines go in. They go to a bracket on the side of the block. Get those tightened up, then we'll turn our attention about putting the pump gear on. One thing I want to mention to you, when you're tightening your 4 bolts, or your 6 bolts actually on your VP, what I would actually do first is tighten these 4 up here first. You got 2 on top and 2 on bottom, directly below the 2 top ones. I would tighten those up first. That pulls that VP into this timing cover, and then tighten up the 2 down here that goes into the side of the block bracket. So with that, we're going to grab my 1/2-inch breaker bar, put it in my barring tool, and then bring this back around. You can see these 2 O's right here. We'll bring those back around and line it up with that one, and then we'll set the gear on here lined up with that one, and everything will be back in time. So that right there, you can see how everything's lined up. We've got our other timing dot, our timing mark on top right here. We can go ahead and grab the VP gear and put it in place. All right, if you're taking this off, you can see this has a tapered shaft, and then this right here is your timing mark that's going to go up there on your timing cover. So you have your engine set at top dead center to either remove this or do your valve lash or any of those items there. So you want to take and set this in place, lining up the double O with the single O right here. And then this is a 27 millimeter, and it'll get torqued to 125 foot-pounds. You want to make sure and hold your crank with the barring tool, because if you don't at 125 foot-pounds, you're going to start turning your engine over and not get adequate torque on that nut. Alright, I went ahead and took care of 2 more things. That way they're taken care of, and I don't forget about them, because I forgot about the one on the back of the head. What I did was I went ahead and hooked up the VP fuel return, which is right here. That's a 19 millimeter wrench. And then on the back of the head, I've showed you guys that before. You can see that line right there. This VP fuel return line actually goes up and tees off. One of them goes to your tank, and the other one goes to the excessive, basically it's the unused fuel from your injectors. They travel down through a channel through here. It's just excess fuel that's not used through the injectors. It travels through a channel, like I said, comes out that line right there. There's a 17 millimeter banjo bolt in the back of the head, and then travels back to the fuel also, or back to the fuel tank also. So I went ahead and hooked that up because I forgot to put that on after I put the head on, and I went ahead and hooked this up while I was thinking about it and took care of both of those. That way they're done. If you're doing this, it's a really straightforward, simple job. For me, it's relatively very simple because I have the timing cover off. You do not have to take the timing cover off to do this, and you don't have to remove all the fuel lines. Only thing you need to do is remove the fuel lines from the back here. Just kind of, after you lose them, you're able to move them back far enough to be able to pull this out. You can get a puller in here to pull this gear and pop it, and then that gear will just sit in place right inside behind the timing cover. One thing you do not want to do is drop the keyway on the bottom of the shaft, the nut, or the lock washer. That will cause you to have to remove the timing cover. And if you can't get to everything, you're going to have to pull the radiator. Shouldn't have to pull your intercooler, but the radiator would probably have to come out so you can get to everything and fish your bolt out of the cover right here. So I think with that, that's pretty much all I'm going to have for tonight. Just wanted to take care of a couple of things, get some loose ends tied up while I'm waiting on parts for the transmission build. Don't get any parts by tomorrow, I'll go ahead and start throwing some of the stuff that we painted on it, making it look pretty. So I guess with that being said, if you guys don't mind, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already done so, and we'll talk to you guys later on.